On Twitter, your username is the China Chap.
LAC, if you see, line of actual control, 3,488 kilometers का we are border we are sharing with the China. वो बोलते हैं ना भूख होती है ज्यादा जमीन लेने की.
इंडिया चाइना बॉर्डर के जितने भी इश्यूज हैं शायद उनमें से कुछ भी एकदम पिन पॉइंट रिजॉल्व तो कुछ भी नहीं है.
China has a expansionist policy. We cannot leave them on the same hand. We want to disengage them on the border issues.
Very well put. What exactly is Indo-China water crisis?
India is being a lower riparian country. Brahmaputra, Indus, Ganges, Satluj, Irrawaddy. So these are the few of the rivers which originate
So our
from
major river systems are coming from China.
Exactly. Tibet में the major river is Brahmaputra. In China we call it as a Yarlung Tsangpo. Chinese are having a problem. They are not having a quality of water. They have started diverting water from Tibet. China decided that they will construct super dam. Their first leader Mao Zedong analyzed this. The future of China will only be decided by its water. Both India side also, Tibet side also, people have started protest. But there is always a way that you can weaponize that water in terms of creating a large destruction.
अभी जो बांग्लादेश में सिचुएशन क्रिएट हुई थी उन्होंने इंडिया को ब्लेम करा, इंडिया ने कराई है फ्लडिंग. Was it true?
Indus Water Treaty. And despite being a lot of problems since 1947, this treaty in the whole world is one of the most successful treaty. We didn't wanted Pakistan to suffer. Pakistan talks about we have a problem with your dams. Some parties from US and the delegates from World Bank and Pakistan also came and visited Jammu and Kashmir just to visit that dam area.
Yeah. We failed to see a bigger picture and eventually that divides us.
Prime Minister Modi also in 2016 immediately stated that blood and water will not go hand in hand.
एक कुछ इंटरनेशनल लॉ तो होगा ही ना कि कंट्रीज वाटर ऐसे यूज करती हैं वैसे यूज कर सकती हैं.
Both India and China are not the signatory of these conventions. We tend to get real-time data from China.
But China is free to modify that data.
Actually triggered me a lot. How the border issues are connected with the water issues. Both the countries have lost trust in each other. There is a need to revive that trust, but
हेलो जी, नमस्ते, वेलकम बैक टू द चैनल. दिस इज एफी एक्सप्लोरर. आज दोस्तों हमारे साथ इस पॉडकास्ट पे बहुत ही स्पेशल गेस्ट है. इनकी इंडो चाइना बॉर्डर रिलेशंस पर एक्सपर्टीज सुनकर आप दंग रह जाएंगे. मिस्टर नीरज सिंह मनास. हमारे आज के गेस्ट का एक्सपीरियंस काफी ज्यादा वास्ट है. ये डायरेक्टर ऑफ रिसर्च भी रह चुके हैं एट इंडो पैसिफिक कंसोर्टियम एट रायसेना हाउस इन न्यू दिल्ली. 6 बुक्स को ऑथर और एडिट करने वाले नीरज सिंह मनास का इंटरेस्ट इंक्लूड करता है सीनो इंडिया बॉर्डर इश्यूज, चाइना इन द इंडियन ओशन, इंडो चाइना फॉरेन पॉलिसी, वाटर सिक्योरिटी एंड इंडो पैसिफिक स्टडीज. हम आज के इस पॉडकास्ट में बहुत सारी ऐसी बातों का जिक्र करने वाले हैं और उनको डिस्कस करने वाले हैं जो बाकी मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया में इतनी डिस्कस नहीं होती. हम अपने इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर के इश्यूज को तो काफी डिस्कस करते हैं, लेकिन हम क्या वाटर बाउंड्री को कभी डिस्कस करते हैं? तो आज डिस्कस करते हैं water boundaries between countries and its effects on geopolitics. Hello Mr. Neeraj, welcome to Yatra Uncut with Ify Explorer. कैसा लग रहा है आपको अपना पहला पॉडकास्ट करते हुए?
Thank you Niharika. I'm feeling very good because I think the topic which we are going to discuss today, it is very close to my heart, and I have been reading, researching and talking about it since a long time. So I think now it's the time that we can clearly talk in person and tell the audience also that what are their thoughts about,
spread some more awareness.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm feeling more happy, more relaxed at the moment, and thanks to you for the invite.
On Twitter, your username is the China Chap. What's the story behind this?
I was more professionally inclined towards my area of research. So I thought that, as a China watcher.
China watcher?
Yes. I'll not consider myself an expert at the moment. Actually, nobody can be an expert on China. So, all the people who are, reading or writing or talking about China for ages, for decades, I think they all are the China watcher.
How you became this China watcher person? What's your career trajectory has been?
If I talk about my own professional background, I thought, I belong to an army background. So that was the first chance because the person who is from the army background, they are more inclined towards, countries, wars,
Yeah,
security.
not all though. कभी-कभार they are exactly of the opposite nature.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
But being my father was in the special forces, so I was, and he has been a part of like the lot many operations like Operation Pavan in Sri Lanka, and then in Operation Vijay in Kargil. Then in the last recent one was in 2008 Operation Black Tornado in Mumbai Taj. So I think I've seen that, lived up that life, and that made me also to join defense forces. But somehow due to some reason I couldn't make it to that point. But then that gist of studying the current affairs when we used to prepare for the CDS exam,
Yeah.
when we used to prepare for the SSB interviews, just that moment I felt that this is the need of the hour. I need to study more about countries relation. I mean, that was the just moment I thought that India China relations are some of was very connected. And I remember in 2020 I gave my last SSB, and that point of time only Galwan Valley happened.
Yeah.
So and I was keeping a lot of my eyes on the developments which were happening in the Galwan Valley.
Okay.
So I felt that this needs to be continued, and since then you can also see that the issue has not been resolved yet. It's been like we are entering into the fifth winters now.
Yeah.
So I feel
People
that
might think कि like मैं एक statement बोलती हूँ, people might think कि मैं क्या ही बोल रही हूँ, but पूरे ही इंडिया चाइना बॉर्डर के जितने भी इश्यूज हैं शायद उनमें से कुछ भी एकदम पिन पॉइंट रिजॉल्व तो कुछ भी नहीं है.
well, I don't think that वो हुआ है, and it's been since ages, since 1947. Say if you see the history of India, both the countries are they tried their level best in under the leadership of our first prime minister that they should have a cordial relation. But I feel that things got changed in the 1950s onwards, because China has a expansionist policy, because वो बोलते हैं ना भूख होती है ज़्यादा ज़मीन लेने की. और तो due to that thing China immediately attacked Tibet in 1950, and due to that we have seen a lot of Tibet refugees among with His Holiness Dalai Lama also came to India in 1959.
Yeah.
So since then I think China and India, when both the countries were having demarcation, when Britishers gave us the demarcation with the name of McMahon Line, they stopped actually appreciating that ki nahi, we will not follow up these McMahon Line. Due to that, we had a war, 1962 war, and since then, our relation has been not cooperative. I feel that it's been more competitive.
Yeah.
Just on the border sake. But on the other front, if you see bilateral relation, since again, we are actually, a lot of importing from China, but exporting very less.
Yeah.
Due to that, we are having right now a trade deficit also with China with approximately $100 billion. So you can well imagine the kind of a scenario we are into. We cannot leave them, but on the same hand, we want to disengage them on the border issues also.
Very well put. थोड़ा सा और इसको अच्छे से समझने के लिए, सबकी नॉलेज के लिए हम एक हिस्ट्री को थोड़ा सा टाइमलाइन वाइज कर देते हैं कि कैसे जो हमारा इंडिया चाइना बॉर्डर अभी प्रेजेंटली है, मतलब काफ़ी कॉम्प्लेक्स अभी भी, बट वो कहाँ से शुरू हुआ बनना और कहाँ से कहाँ तक है, कौन सी से कौन सी स्टेट तक है, वो आप थोड़ा बताओ व्यूअर्स के लिए.
It is basically divided in three parts. First is the western part, जो हमारा लद्दाख वाला region है, and second part is our जिसको central और middle हमारा, हाँ, उसको रीजन भी बोलते हैं, जहाँ पे हमारा उत्तराखंड एंड ये अपना हिमाचल वाला आ जाता है. एंड द लास्ट पार्ट इज द ईस्टर्न रीजन, दैट इज द सिक्किम एंड द अरुणाचल प्रदेश. सो दिस three areas we are having different three sectors, and in three sectors में if you see that we had always a problem. अभी right now we are having a problem in the western region, that is Ladakh and Aksai Chin वाला जो area है, and total the border LAC, if you see line of actual control, it is approximately 3,488 kilometers का we are sharing with the China.
So how do we address the Indo-China border? Should we say it as McMahon line? Should we say it as Indo-China border, or should we say it as line of actual control, LAC?
So in the government terminology, if we want to say, we can always use the LAC, line of actual control, because the McMahon line which you just mentioned, it was been framed by the Britishers only, because the problem is that due to the geographical barriers, we were not able to demarcate the areas very much clearly, because the mountain regions, the rivers, the gullies of mountains are very much high, that it gets very impossible to demarcate the region, आपका area कौन सा है, हमारा कौन सा है. So just to sideline that, Britishers demarcated that finger points in terms of mountains, like finger point 1 is one mountain, 2, 3, 4, like this. So a kind of a line, imaginary line has been drawn at that point of a time, and since then actually we are following up that only. And because we have also signed up a 5 principle treaty with China also.
ये कितनी पुरानी treaty है?
I think we signed it in 1950s only. That is called a peaceful coexistence policy with China. So that there are 5 principles which we will try to maintain with China.
Okay.
So in that also we have tried to maintain our border relations with China in terms of LAC. But in terms of government, we always use LAC, but अगर मैकमोहन को आजकल इतना importance नहीं है, because the things are very much messy. But out of these 3 sectors, I would say that the western sector, which is there, which
Ladakh.
is the Ladakh region, it is very much hostile in nature at the moment, because the things are not sorted yet.
Yeah.
Now in the eastern sector, again the problem has been there, because it's very much connected with the Tibetan border. Yeah. So I feel that in 2017 also, where the chicken neck is there, Bhutan Tri junction we have with Bhutan, India and China. The Tri junction is there. We had a problem there at Doklam in 2017, and similarly in 2022 also in Arunachal area only, in 2022 Tawang area also been a victim of that again expansionist policy of China. That has been solved till now, but forces have been kept there. Our infrastructure development has been taken up at a very good scale. But things are messy at the Ladakh region, I would say. Specifically Ladakh, it's been very much connected with a lot of areas where the Pangong Lake
is
the Pangong Lake, major part of the Pangong Lake, it's controlled by China itself. Only I think that 10 or 20% it's in the Ladakh region. So I feel they are having a big hold there, but we need to disengage them, Chinese people there.
Yeah, and we can go on and on about the boundaries, but मैं उसमें ज़्यादा time नहीं लूँगी because we have limited time today. But I'll straight up take you to the that is your thing, your research thing, that water crisis, shared water boundaries. So what exactly is Indo-China water crisis?
India is being a lower riparian country. Lower riparian, like the country which is in the lower side of the river, where the cross boundary river relations are there. So in terms of that, we always say lower riparian or upper riparian. And there is one more thing. There is always one more thing is there, middle riparian.
Okay.
With the country which lies between lower and upper.
Bhutan, like Bhutan and Nepal.
Yeah, exactly. So India right now with Nepal, if we want to consider, we are having a issue because we are having an issue with China in terms of Tibet.
Okay.
Because the Tibet is such a region which is enormously rich in lot of resources. And that area, it's been situated at a very high altitude. You will have a lot of snow, glaciers, and due to that, the moment snow and glacier melts, it gives a rise to a lot of rivers.
So it is right to call it as the third pole?
Yes, the barometer of Asia. Geographical location makes it a very special case in that case. We are very much lucky because, that region, from that region till now in India, we are having, I think, a lot of important rivers. Like one of the main river is Brahmaputra.
Okay.
Second is Indus. Ganges, Satluj, Irrawaddy. So these are the few of the rivers which originate
so our
from
major river systems are coming from China.
Exactly. Although, but if I talk about the India-China transboundary river basin, we share 3 river basins, First is that the Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna. Second is Indus.
For the knowledge of the viewers, can you थोड़ा सा briefly explain कर दो basin, river basin क्या होती है?
Okay, so river basin is it's an area of a landmass where, let's suppose, some precipitation is coming or some source of water is coming. It's been collected there, and from that collected point, it's going to some lake or river or XY, like the tributaries, know, and from that tributary it is taking taking to some source. Like suppose हमारी जो ब्रह्मपुत्र river है, it comes from Tibet, it enters India, but at the last point it flows back into the Bay of Bengal. Tibet में the major river is Brahmaputra, which
क्या बोलते हैं उसको वहाँ पे?
Which in China, so in China we call it as a Yarlang Sangpo. And because they have their own language, but the moment it turns towards the Arunachal Pradesh, there is a very great bend, like U-shaped bend. Mountain is there and there is a U-shaped bend. The moment a river turns up bend, it turns toward the first state of India, that is Arunachal, where the river is called Dihang.
Dihang.
Yes.
And ये कौन सी exactly district या point से enter करती है?
Well, exactly तो इसको pinpoint करना मुश्किल है.
I think बहुत सारी tributaries बन जाती
हैं. Yes. Tributaries तो बहुत सारी हमारी, जैसे लोहित है.
Exactly.
सियांग है, ठीक है, दिहांग है. So but the main river course जो आ रही है वो दिहांग है. And then the moment Arunachal से it goes towards Assam, it is called as Brahmaputra, and the moment it goes from Brahmaputra to Bangladesh, it calls Jamuna. And Jamuna se then originally it drains off into Bay of Bengal. But now the issue is being a lower riparian country, we tend to face a lot of problems, because as you know that India is right now having a largest population in the world. We have already surpassed China also in terms of population.
इस चीज में पीछे छोड़ दिया हमने.
Exactly, and in terms of that, our growing demands are increasing day by day, and we need water. Water consumption is very important, and just not in quantity, we also need quality of water. So Chinese are having a problem of, although Tibet is situated in their area, they have a lot of quantity, but they are not having a quality of water. So in terms of having a quality water, fresh water, that too from the Tibet, what they have done, they have started diverting water from Tibet. And from Tibet, now in order to understand that part, we need to also understand कि China का demographic region कैसा है. China's population originally, the main China populated resides in the central China. And that is the central or the northern China. The western and the southern part, it's totally deserted area. And the water or irrigation or agriculture activities are not possible. So what they are doing, as the western and southern part is very much connected and very much near to the Tibet, so what they are doing, they are having a lot of projects on those river, or like in forms of dams. Dams are also like 2 or 3 types. Some of the dams are just meant for the hydroelectricity. They are called a run of the river. Some of them are called the reservoirs. Some of them are called the storage dams. So what they are doing, they are actually creating reservoirs or the storage dam from storing the water from like the moment the water gets stored in the dam, from there from the pipe connection or some it's a very famous project is a South North Water Transfer Project in China. So it started and it is right now in the phases. So it started in 2002. And I think the first phase is already completed in 2010. Largely its main role was to transfer the water from Tibet to transfer to the northern part of China. So you can well imagine how the quality water, it's very important, because in China, if you see the river, Yellow River, Yangtze River. So these are some of the important river in China. But the problem in these 2 rivers is that they are very much polluted. The quality you cannot get, and just to get the do the purification of water, it needs lot of billions of dollars, and China is not ready to do that. And so the best source what they have found is that to divert the water from Tibet and to which is actually leading a problem to our lower riparian countries.
Yeah, for India it is a problem. Even for middle riparian countries.
Yes, yes. So I'll tell you now, in context of Bangladesh, include Bangladesh. So India's position becomes middle.
Yeah, correct.
And Bangladesh position becomes lower riparian to India, because the transboundary river all are connected. Right. So we cannot consider India as a lower riparian in that term. But yeah, just if in terms of India, China, if you're talking, yeah, India is a lower riparian and China is a upper riparian. This is not a new idea to China. Since their first leader, Mao Zedong, he analyzed this very long time back. And there have been very good readings on this subject, because that point of a time he took a dip in the water. And that time he decided that the future of China will only be decided by its water.
Oh God, he said that?
Yes. So since then the economical progress, or the lot of the developments which are happening since then, the culture, after the cultural revolution, the things which started happening in China. So that is why a lot of transformation which are happening in China, it's coming from their past leadership.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Yes, since very long time, like we do also used to have the planning commission for 5 years. So likewise they also have planning commission. So right now I think if you current planning commission is 14th.
Okay.
14th. So it started in 21. It will end in 25. Okay. So in this, they set targets, like what all dams they will build, what all water projects they will construct. So in this, specifically in 14th 5-year plan, which started in 21, China decided that they will construct super dam.
Super dam?
Yes. So now what is this super dam? Super dam, it's relatively will also lead to the high megawatt electricity development for the Chinese people also, those who are residing in Tibet. Secondly, it will also work as a reservoir. The electricity can also be produced. Secondly, the water can also be collected, and simultaneously it can be transferred to the people of China.
Yeah.
It's called as a super dam. So its potential of generating electricity is also more than the small dams.
What is it? Is it bigger in size?
Yes, it's bigger in size, like, because dams are always considered in terms of size. The larger size of dam is that the more electricity, the more water it can collect, but it has lot of ecological consequences.
This is
also
not a sustainable solution.
Yes, exactly. And due to that, we have also seen that in both India side also, both in Tibet side also, people have started protesting, and a lot of people have been, specifically in Tibet, I would say, because it is leading a large number of damage to the mountains, rivers, the people, because the people who are residing near the that area, they have to shift and relocate from that place. So but China is not stopping. China has a plan. Whatever they have planned in their 14th 5-year plan, they will definitely do it. So in that terms, I will say,
so since we know like dam is not a sustainable solution, इसका India पे क्या असर पड़ रहा है? India की rivers पे क्या असर पड़ रहा है?
One of my paper which I've written in 2023 at a very prestigious journal of Indo-Pacific Affairs. So in that we have found that China has 87,000 dams on Tibet. Small dams. Okay. You can well imagine a country which has constructed 87,000 dams on Tibet river. Okay. Yarlang Sangpo. So it has a lot of implication to the lower riparian. During summer times, if country wants to weaponize that water in terms of stopping that water, water will not come. So we will have drought-like situation in country, right? So similarly, we had that kind of a situation in Assam. We have now the central sector comes into the major role, because in Satluj also we are having a large number of, we are getting a water data sharing from China. So there also we have witnessed, in Himachal and Uttarakhand also we have witnessed a drought in, I think, 2000 or 2002. At that point of a time. Let's suppose if they leave that water, the gates of the dams are open during the rain time. You can always cite a reason that, rainfall, cloud burst, or XYZ reason. But there is always a way that you can weaponize that water in terms of creating a large destruction. And yes, it happened in Assam.
बट अभी जो बांग्लादेश में सिचुएशन क्रिएट हुई थी, तो उन्होंने बोला था कि उनके यहाँ फ्लडिंग हो गई है.
Yes.
उन्होंने इंडिया को ब्लेम करा कि इंडिया ने कराई है फ्लडिंग.
Yes,
Was
yes,
it true?
I think government immediately stated a statement. MEA had given a statement. It was a misspread of words
Information,
that because we are already having a problem with Bangladesh. We have signed a India Ganga Treaty in 1950 with them, and which is just to expire in the next year.
Okay.
So
And that treaty states
that we are sharing water with Ganga. Ganga we are sharing with Bangladesh. So in that terms also, someone from the people started making it as a hoax, and they spreaded a bad word for India, that India has left that dam open and it has led to. But I think it was a just a misunderstanding between the people of Bangladesh, because MEA stated immediately that we have nothing to do with it. It is just a cloud burst, or the flood like situation has happened due to your own thing. India has nothing to do.
But tell me, in total honesty, and since you research so much on water issues,
Yes.
has ever India created a flood-like situation for our neighboring countries?
No, definitely no.
We have
no.
never done that.
No, definitely. So I'll tell you, because it's very important to study, stance of countries. So when I talk about India, I'll tell you the India's stance has been very helpful, very cooperative. Bangladesh, we are having treaty. For example, with Nepal also, we are having a treaty with, for
With
the
Pakistan
electricity.
also.
With Pakistan also, we are having Indus Water Treaty. And despite being a lot of problems since 1947, this treaty in the whole world is one of the most successful treaties.
Which one?
Indus Water Treaty, which was signed in 1960. So you can well imagine, if India's stance would have been very negative or partial or neoliberal in terms of just making money out of water, I think we wouldn't have reached this far.
Yeah.
So I feel that it really needs a good gesture, or the value which we believe India believes in, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. So we value and we share the things with our neighboring state. We always try to maintain that that our neighbors should always be at peace, and we are always ready to help. So in that case, I don't feel that India has been been a victim of that case, and we would be doing it in the future also.
So talking about neighbors, we understood the origin of Brahmaputra river.
Right.
Talking about Indus river.
Right.
It also comes from Tibet.
Right.
And I've recently been to that area from where it enters India. That's the Demchok and the Demchok village of Ladakh.
Right.
And these are two different villages. One is on the occupied China side, and one is on our side. So would you like to share some information on that?
Indus Water Treaty, as I said, that's been very successful. We didn't wanted Pakistan to suffer. Because in Indus, as there are 6 rivers. The western rivers, that is Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, would be given to Pakistan, and the eastern flow of rivers of Indus, like Ravi, Beas and Satluj, would be given to India. So these are the 6 rivers, but western part was given to Pakistan, eastern part was given to India. Ab isme bhi na, India has shown a very good gesture that 80% of the rivers which are on the eastern side, which are our part, yes, would be given to Pakistan.
Why?
For their irrigation. Yes. So you can well imagine kind of a good relation we want to have it with Pakistan. Since then, now the problem comes when Pakistan tries to give us with the notion of terrorism. Not always tries to question us on the Kashmir issue. Then despite being a lot of help from our country, India, creating a lot of issues and a lot of hawks like in between all the countries, that we want to talk about Kashmir issue, we want to, and we have been so generous that 80% of our river water is going towards.
Are we still giving them 80% of our side?
Yes, definitely we are giving, and we are just taking 20%. And still, I'll tell you the data from Jammu and Kashmir economical survey, which states that even with that 20% of the river which is just left with us, we are not able to extract a lot of hydroelectricity from that. Exactly 16,500 megawatt we can extract. We have just only taken 3,000 something, 3,400 megawatt.
Okay.
So you can well imagine out of that 20% also we have just taken just I think 5 or 6%. Pakistan talks about that we have a problem with your dams which you are constructing. Now we want to tell them that already we are giving you 80%, and now for our own people also, like the southern Kashmir people also, if we don't want to give electricity to them, then what is the fun of Indus Water Treaty since then?
Yeah.
So now why this was in the news, that because we have also signed a mediator when we signed Indus Water Treaty, World Bank.
Okay. World Bank is the mediator.
Yes. So World Bank become a mediator. So that countries do not do any kind of a biasness. If you have read that some parties from US and the delegates from World Bank, they and the Pakistan also, they came and visited Jammu and Kashmir just to visit that dam area.
Yeah.
There are two dams, Ratel Dam and Kishan Ganga, or there is one more, Pakal Dam also.
Okay.
So these three dams are there, which has always been a kind of a problem with India and Pakistan in that context, where Pakistan stated that we have a problem with the design of a dam.
Wow.
Because likewise what I mentioned in China, super dam heights goes up to 110 and 15 or something like that. So in this dam, which started I think in 2006, Kishan Ganga, originally its height was designed up to 94 meters. But the moment when Pakistan raised a question, we reduced the height up to 30s or 40s, I think 36 or 37.
Damn, okay.
So you can well imagine, and till 2016 it was not able to come into the actual power. Okay, so again with the Ratel Dam, it is actually a new dam which was I think it is in Kishtwar district of Jammu and Kashmir. That is why these parties came, mediators, and they wanted to see and check the things if we are not doing any kind of flaw with Pakistan.
But ये treaty revise होने वाली है ना?
Yes, definitely. Because see, इसका एक clause ये कहता है, we cannot change the treaty, but we have always a clause to modify and change the things if it is not according to our needs. Because 1960 में जो treaty signed हुई है ना, it is just seeing the situation and scenario of that point of a time. In 2004, 2024, India's growing challenges have become more. We need more water.
True.
We need more electricity. Specifically, if these dams have been constructed on these rivers, it will help largely to the southern Kashmir, like the Baramulla, Shopian. These are the districts which will be largely benefited. So I think that it will overall give a growth to Jammu and Kashmir. So I believe that in that sense, Pakistan's questioning on dam construction, or it's not been very much with that solid thing, because
we have so many big issues, but common people keep on fighting on other issues that they are closely bothered by.
Right.
And we fail to see a bigger picture, and eventually that divides us.
Since 2016, when we had a Uri attack, India stopped each and every bilateral relation with Pakistan. Since then we are not trading with them. Since then we are not using their way to go to Afghanistan. We take all the way from Iran, and then we go to Afghanistan, or if you want to
I've been to these trade centers that is in the Poonch district, and it's closed now, abandoned now, because no trading is happening.
Exactly.
And still political leaders,
we have that Chakkanda Bagh is also there. Uri also we have a lot of trading centers between India and Pakistan. But then I feel that till the time the terrorism issue will not be solved and Pakistan doesn't come on talk with India, I think water, bilateral, everything will be not be solved. And due to that, if you'll see, Prime Minister Modi also in 2016 immediately stated that blood and water will not go hand in hand. First of all, you need to stop the blood, then only we will share the water.
Wow.
So, our Prime Minister has been very bold and straight in all of these things with the Pakistan, and we have been maintaining that thing. Similarly, with the China also. Since 2020 Galwan issue, no matter, we had a kind of a scrimmage with China, but till now we are not having a direct flight with China. They have been requesting to us that it's been affecting our trade, it's been affecting our bilateral relation, but no, India MEA has a clear statement that till the time you do not solve our disengagement at the border, LAC, we are not going to have normal talks.
Yeah, it's always a give and take relation with
yes,
neighbors.
Definitely. And I think in international relations, it's all about in national interest. We cannot say that, it's not a 1947 India. Okay, our stance have been changed now. Foreign policy has emerged. Now we know what we want. Now we can say what India actually wants, what people demands are. We cannot just say and tell that, sit quiet what China or Pakistan will do. I think that we have been very bold and straight in our stance, and we should keep it in that way so that our enemies also, keep it straight to the heart that, it's not that India, it's new India.
Yeah, correct. Now I'll again take you back to the Chinese side and say on that fact, I recently went to this place in Arunachal.
Okay.
Anjao district.
Okay.
And वहाँ पे we have China border. So when I was traveling to that district, बीच में मुझे मेरे साथ जो travel operator थे उन्होंने बताया कि सियांग district summers में या rainy season में कहते हैं कि पानी black आता है. What is the reason of the black water? Is it because of the China dam construction?
I'll start from the western sector. Aksai Chin and the Ladakh area, it's very much mountainous area where large number of mining activities are happening.
Okay.
China has been very much vocal about that they want to extract a lot of minerals out of it. And due to that, the large number of waste which gets collected and it's been disposed of in the rivers, lakes. So due to that, people have been witnessing, and which actually pollutes the water. Similarly, in Arunachal Pradesh, which China calls it as South Tibet. Okay, and similarly, the kind of activities they have been doing, mining and polluting the river, knowing the fact that it is going towards India. So there have been activities, and we have a lot of traces of that also. And near the LAC, if you see that China is established right now the artificial villages.
Right.
So in Chinese we call it as Xiongkang. Okay. So these are the artificial area, just to give an idea that we are not constructing anything, but the moment if Chinese people will face any kind of a problem, army would come to save them. So they have constructed large number of railway line, bullet line, and a large number of infrastructure development which is happening in northeastern state.
They set up cement factories.
Exactly.
I went to this Anjao district again, giving you example of that. And Kaho से जो इंडिया का first village अब rename कर दिया गया है, वहाँ से I could see their cement factories, their roads, everything. And my friend was with me, and she said कि see, this is our on the camera. She was vlogging. She said कि Kaho is our first village, and beyond LAC, beyond the Indo-Chinese border, is China's first village. I said no.
Right.
There is no first village of China. They just set up artificial villages like you mentioned.
Right. So I feel, and there is always a need of maintaining the balance of power in international relations. So what we do, we will not say that we know that our economy right now, it's not that comparable with China. China is right now with $14 trillion. We are just about to reach up to 5 trillion. So we have set a target. So we are not saying that we can immediately be like China, but we are into a thing that we want to maintain that balance. Okay, let's suppose if they are constructing or maintaining infrastructure development there. Similarly, India is also doing, like you have witnessed that we have constructed a Sela tunnel. Then we have placed our S-400 missile defense system. We have Rafales. We have already
Yeah.
are deployed. Indian Air Force is there. We are ready for the action, and we have done that in the 2020. But China have been very neglecting of the fact that they never said that clearly coming out in the media that that they have lost this much numbers of soldiers. They have only just said that 3-4 soldiers
Yeah,
have.
they never say that.
Yes, exactly. So that's again kind of a thing which we need to also get into. That we with Chinese call it as a psychological warfare.
But I also think that this is also because of the kind of political system both the countries have. Their
Yes.
system is different, ours is different.
Yes.
हम कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे तो दूसरी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी अटैक कर देगी,
Right.
बोलेगी कि भाई इन्होंने कुछ बोला ही नहीं, अपने सोल्जर्स शहीद हुए, सोल्जर्स के लिए कितने नंबर्स गए, क्या
Right.
हुआ.
Right.
So everything has to be crystal clear and said in the media in our country.
Right.
But in their regime, it's all उनकी मर्जी, कुछ भी छुपाएं, कुछ भी बताएं.
Yeah, they had a Olympics recent one in China. So what they did, the flag bearer opening ceremony में, the colonel who was at the Galwan Valley who was fighting with Indians, so he gave a torch, barrier to colonel. I'm forgetting his name. So that just to tell people that our soldiers are so brave.
Yeah.
So this kind of a psychologically, I feel that India is very behind at the moment, but we also need to construct that kind of a narrative because it's all about narrative.
Yeah.
What you're setting up to the people. Now China have just said that 4 people have got killed at that action, but the reality says different. Similarly, after few months they said that 11 people got killed. Then similarly after an year they said 30 people. But the similarity, although India has also not come out with that because it is their stance, but which they are hard to find except that truth. But we need to construct and work on that warfare narrative also because it's very important.
Yeah.
Because the way China glorified it, Galwan Valley incident, I feel that I recently, like few days back, I was in Russia only. So there, as a counterpart, when we were having a discussion with my Chinese counterpart, so there they know that they have been considered as an enemy country in the whole world. Yes, yes, they know that, and they know it, and they feel very much fear when they have to answer. Likewise, while interacting with the other peer group from the other countries, like the South African, they were not very much protected with the facts. The whatever they saying, it's very different from what South Africa has to say. Whatever I was countering them, it's very different what they have perceived from the actions which have been taking place in the border.
Okay.
So I feel that they also know.
I have a question on this.
Yes.
Do not know the reality of what happened, or are they being taught or made to hear what the government wants them to hear?
Actually, the biggest problem of communist country is always like this, that you cannot question or you cannot come out in media.
Okay.
You have always been restricted, right? Similarly, in India, you have always a saying, right? What you have to say, your perspective, what I have to say, that would be my view,
And
right?
we can conduct podcasts like this.
Exactly. So, these sort of things are very much restricted in China or any communist country, if you say. So, I feel that they know the fact that what they have been doing, but they are very much fair to accept that fact.
Okay, above all the border tensions, above all the water crisis, सबसे बड़ा threat तो global warming का है. जब
Yes.
तिब्बत में खड़े हुए glaciers ही melt हो जाएंगे. So, as we discussed, dam is not a very sustainable solution to the future
Yes,
problems.
right.
So, how do you think in this direction ki, since you work so much on water issues?
In the previous decade, we were focusing more on global warming. Now, after a decade, we are talking about climate change. So now we haven't, solved out the global warming, but now we have shifted that problem to the climate change.
Okay.
And similarly, the treaties are also like, similarly like the Kyoto Protocol, the Rio Summit, which happened in 1992. So all of these treaties are also not able to focus on these areas where I feel that, let's suppose one treaty's focus was to neutralize the chlorofluorocarbon. But second comes that, they would allow the chlorofluoro, but it will allow the halogens or other gases which are there in the atmosphere, they will work on them.
Okay.
So, I mean, the problem is that
कोई deep level पे काम नहीं कर पा रहा है, सब superficially बात कर
we
रहे हैं.
want to work lot of things.
Yeah.
But instead of working and solving out one thing at a time, I feel that we are focusing on large number of other things. As now that climate change is on the focal point of each and every country, so now what we are thinking that we need to maintain the carbon footprint. Okay, China and India, both the countries are the largest carbon emitting countries, both the country, because of the population, because of the industries, because of the urbanization and lot of other factors which are there.
And अभी तो हम और इंडस्ट्री सेटअप करने की बात कर रहे हैं because India needs to focus on its secondary sector.
Right. Every country has taken up a pledge. And China has taken up a pledge of 2032 that they will try to reduce the carbon footprint. Similarly, India's Amrit Kal, which we are, and in India's 100 years, which we are going to celebrate in 2047, 48. So in that also we have tried to take a vow that till 2072 we will also try to focus to reduce down the carbon footprint, and we will come to the electric side to use the more renewable source of energies which are there. So similarly, I feel in the Tibet also it is leading a large number of massacre because due to climate change, glacier melting is happening. We don't get to know about the precipitation, whether it will be in what scale it will happen, flooding will happen, cloud bursts are happening. And similarly, Gulf Glacier Lake outburst, floods which happened in Sikkim recently, which happened in Nepal right now, which happened in Dubai. Dubai is such country where it has never ever witnessed rain in such kind of a way. So you can well imagine the moment we will try and disturb the nature, it will disturb us. Although if you are aware that COP, Conference of Parties, COP 28 abhi right now, I think COP 29 is going to happen. So in these all the countries, international countries which are good in maintaining, so I feel they come together, they collaborate, they try and see what all the good initiatives where they can collaborate and how they can mitigate the climate issue. Because
तो after all this एक कुछ इंटरनेशनल लॉ तो होगा ही ना कि कंट्रीज वाटर ऐसे यूज करती हैं वैसे यूज कर सकती हैं आपस में शेयर करके, कुछ है ऐसा लॉ?
Yes, so like if we talk about international water law, so there have been customary laws. There are 2 laws which are there, which are applied to each and every one in the whole world. First one is 1997 convention that talks about how we need to use the international water course. The second one is 1992 international water law, where we are, the guidelines are there how we need to use and protect the water in the international water course. But unfortunately, both India and China are not the signatory of these conventions, and due to because one country, as whenever they take a unilateral action, that they want to just follow up what they believe in, what is right. So
China.
Example China. So I'm talking about China only. So in that terms, it becomes very important that other should not also be a victim of it.
तो it's like कि ना चाइना मान रहा उन लॉ को ना इंडिया मान रहा है, क्योंकि चाइना नहीं मान रहा, इंडिया इसलिए नहीं मान रहा.
Yes, exactly. So अब ये तो हो गए कि these are the customary laws which are very much applicable to each and every country. Now the second comes the treaties. So now there are different treaties also, like in the just not about India, China, it's about if you see other basins also across the whole world. China has a very good treaties with the other neighboring, as China shared its water shares with 17 countries. It's not that easy to maintain. So it is always good to have treaties with them. So there are treaties which are there. Now the third part comes non-binding, that are soft laws, which India and China are a part. That can only be done in a way of MOUs, that is Memorandum of Understanding, which China and India have been doing it since 2002. Like for Brahmaputra, we initiated this MOU in 2002, and since then regularly with the gap of 5 years we try to renew it. So what we get instead of that, so in every 5 years soft laws in terms of MOUs, we tend to get real-time data from China. And China means that the Tibet say we are getting data from 3 stations, okay, which give the real-time data in terms of flood. We have a data that if there is any kind of a flood like situation to the downstream countries, we have an idea. Our engineers from the Central Water Commission, which are stationed in Arunachal, Assam, or even in the Himachal Pradesh, also in Central, so they have an idea. Okay, 2002 when it was signed for the first time, then it was continuously been renewed, like in 2008, 10, 13. So now in 2023, it was about to, renew it, but we are yet to take decisions on it because of our Galwan Valley issue.
But China is free to modify that data.
Yes, we'll talk about it. Similarly, on the central sector, we are sharing the water from the Satluj River. We get a data for the Satluj River for the central, because Himachal and Uttarakhand are a part of where the Satluj River is there.
Yeah.
They have a border. So now again, this was signed in 2010-8, again renewed in 12 or 13. Then again, it is yet to be renewed in 2023.
Okay.
But China is right now sharing the data with Satluj River, but on the Brahmaputra River, they are not sharing the data. Similarly, the same thing happened in 2017 when the Doklam issue happened in 2017. What they did, citing a reason that there is any kind of a mess or any kind of a problem happened in the sharing of the data, we are not able to share when we had a Doklam issue. But on the same hand, they were sharing the data with the Bangladesh. So we need to see there one thing, that the moment we are having a very good bilateral relation with country, water sharing relation will also be happen in a very good way. Okay, this actually triggered me a lot. So what I decided in 2022 that I'll write one research paper on this, and luckily in 2024 this has come into the issue, and it's been published by Springer, where we have focused how the border issues are connected with the water issues between both the countries. I'll again share the link with you. If anyone wants to read, they can have a look.
So मैं सारे आपके जो links हैं which are free to read and all, वो सबके लिए मैं description में mention कर दूँ.
Definitely. Now coming to the point whether China tries to play with the data or not. Yes. There have been many experts which have also stated the same fact that despite being spending a lot of amount of money on getting the data, earlier it used to be very much free, but then the China realized that because China has always approach of neoliberal. When I say neoliberal, that in anything if they want to do, they want to involve money. Okay, so seeing that kind of a thing, we have it is there in the MEA also website that we have spent like billions of dollars, millions of dollars, not billions, that just to acquire the real-time data from China. And that too, most of the water experts, those who study specifically the Brahmaputra region, they have said that, this data is also can be a manipulated one.
Of course.
So we cannot believe that, but still it is the need. We have to rely as a lower riparian country. But you can well imagine that, in 2017 when the Doklam happened, but similarly giving us a reason that, there is some issue with the data we are not able to share, but similarly with our lower riparian country was getting a data. So you can well imagine how the manipulative things are happening in this. So we need to take deep look into it, how we can get the things right on the table.
So this brings me to the question that water wars, and they also say that World War III will happen because of water, and हमारा इतना सारा problem है water के साथ, जो हमारे main sources है सब China के पास है. Should you think that this can be a possibility? And after this, please tell us that what India can do to mitigate these problems.
Water war narrative have been discussed across the world. I'll not say just about this Brahmaputra basin only, but in terms of other regions also, they have been talking, and there have been professors, experts who have been working on this for decades now. in the US specifically. So, I feel in my term, whatever I have said, I have studied and researched, I got to know that, in my belief, that water war is just a narrative, but, this is a synonym of water tensions.
Okay.
Basically, but there has been a water war in the past. That too in a very old historic, not able to get the right in between which country it happened, but it happened. But that point of a time situation and things were different, right? In the current scenario, if you want to see, I'll not consider as a water war, but I'll consider it, give it as a name of a water tension. India, China cannot have a full scale war on water war, but they can have a slight kind of a not agreeing terms kind of a thing, but they can always have a disagreement between the water things, sharing of data, or about the dam like situation. But I feel that it is more about water tensions, which again I've discussed this again in my paper, that it is just not about water war scenario. It is just a kind of a just to attract the people, water war, World War III.
Yeah.
But I feel that it is more in terms of water weaponization, which we call it as a water tension. How the upper riparian country will act in terms of lower riparian country.
Okay.
If I talk about India's stance, how India can work on this, I feel that, India's stance has been very vocal now. The first thing I would want India to do it, that, the water conventions which we just mentioned, we need to talk on those conventions and rightly sit China with us, so that we can work together on those conventions together, because it's very important.
But ये तो कभी हुआ ही नहीं, क्योंकि I was reading this book by J.J. Singh, and he mentioned in this book, and he said कि जब ब्रिटिशर्स जाते थे मीडिएटर तिब्बत और चाइना का जो मामला था वो सुलझाने, China never used to be like present.
Exactly.
उनको खींच के लाना पड़ता था कि come talk.
So that is the need of the hour. I feel that in the past few of the summits, our foreign minister have also met their foreign minister Wang Yi. So I feel that these are some of the areas, some of the meetings and the summits where our foreign minister is always being very vocal about all these issues. Right now, which we focus on the border issues, how we can disengage our the forces from the LACs. Rightly on the same terms of water tension, we also need to have a same kind of expert level mechanism where both the countries can come together on the table and talk about on terms of water convention, not on terms of soft laws, non-binding in nature, because these are things which are temporary in nature. Because you can well imagine it, since 2023 we are not able to renew it, the old MOU. So how is it going to be possible that in the coming future, if flood-like situation comes, if droughts come, who will be the responsible? So it is the need of the hour, and water is such kind of a precious thing has become in both the countries that people can fight for it. So that tension can exaggerate the things between both the countries, and till the time things are not solved, I think the bilateral relation again will not come into action, and people to people tie will not also be very good. So first thing is that. Second thing, whatever the China is developing in the upper region, upper riparian, like any dam like structure or any structure which can harm the lower riparian country, they need to tell the lower riparian country that these are the things, these are the structures we are constructing, what is this purpose for, why we are constructing. India needs to kept in that confidence. If we will not do that, yes, again it will hamper the India's national security like situation, and it will have a problem in the long term.
But उनके डैम कंस्ट्रक्ट करने के बाद क्या हमारे पास कोई सॉल्यूशंस रह जाते हैं अपनी रिवर्स को बचाने के लिए?
वेल I'll tell you कि ब्रह्मपुत्र का ना एक बहुत अच्छा डिस्कोर्स ये है कि ब्रह्मपुत्र आती तो है वहां से, पर वहां उनकी कंट्री में, चाइना में इतना फ्लो नहीं करती जितना हमारे इंडिया में करती है. ब्रह्मपुत्र का जो स्ट्रेच जो हमारे अरुणाचल प्रदेश और असम में हो जाता है, उसका स्ट्रेच 20 किलोमीटर वाइड हो जाता है, which is not happening in China. So this is a very good part for our own agriculture, irrigation, for our own productivity. So we need to harness that kind of a thing. If we'll not talk about it, I think the day will come soon where China will again, have.
But we are not able to do that with Brahmaputra because हर बार आती है flooding करके जाती है.
Yes, we are not able to do it, but we need to have now the third point which I wanted to focus on. There is a early mitigation. There is a mechanism which tells you, if flood-like situation is coming. Actually, it's been developed by ICIMOD.
Okay.
And they are stationed in Nepal. They are doing a very amazing work on water, climate. They work on HYK, Hindu Kush Himalaya mountains. Okay, and in that all countries, South Asian countries come under that. So they have developed this early flood mechanism which helped Nepal last year.
Okay.
When the Nepal, flood-like situation was about to come, actually a sound-like thing happened, instrument. So with the help of that, villagers got to know that a flood is going to happen, and they mitigated the whole villages.
Okay.
So we need to develop with the help of AI, with the help of ISRO or DRDO, we need to develop such kind of a mechanism which will help our people also in the northeastern state.
Yeah.
And lastly, it's all about, I think we have, both the countries have lost trust in each other. There is a need to revive that trust, but on one condition, when the things are not happening unilaterally.
वेल पुट एंड आज काफ़ी मुझे एनलाइटनमेंट मिली, काफ़ी कुछ पता चला, और स्पेशली वाटर टेंशन्स के बारे में, जिसके बारे में मुझे इतनी ज़्यादा नॉलेज नहीं है. आई कीप ऑन रोमिंग अराउंड इंडियन बॉर्डर रीजन्स बट नॉट विद द perspective of water tension. So thank you so much, Neeraj ji.
Thank you.
For
Thank you so much.
Being here with us, and I hope to talk in much more detail with you, maybe in the second part in somewhere in the future.
Definitely.
And तब तक शायद आप और भी चीज़ों पे रिसर्च कर चुके होंगे.
Definitely. Yes.
So
sure.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Niharika, and it's pleasure to be here. And I'm also looking forward with some more insightful podcasts with you. And yes, likely said, I'm also researching right now on other issues also, in terms of water also, but yeah, seeing the border issues also, largely focusing on some kind of a good mechanism where I can also suggest to the government where they can focus and work on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
तो आई होप ये पॉडकास्ट आपके लिए काफ़ी इंसाइटफुल रहा हो. आई एम श्योर इन सारी बातों का जिक्र पहले कभी भी यूट्यूब या किसी चैनल पर नहीं हुआ है. सो टू अंडरस्टैंड आवर बाउंड्रीज बेटर, टू अंडरस्टैंड आवर बॉर्डर इश्यूज बेटर, शेयर दिस पॉडकास्ट, कॉमेंट योर व्यूज ऑन इट. आपको क्या लगता है कि हमारे रिवर्स को लेकर इंडिया का क्या फ्यूचर है? क्या पॉइंट्स हमें सरकार तक पहुंचाने चाहिए जिससे डिजास्टर्स मिटिगेट हो सके और जो हमारी वाटर बाउंड्रीज को लेके इश्यूज हैं वो सॉल्व हो सके. आई विल सी यू इन अनदर वन. दिस इज इफी साइनिंग ऑफ. बाय बाय. नमस्ते.